Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 859, Arsenal, Jelly Roll, and Anaconda. Hello, Big Chillians, and welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Yeah, things are going pretty well. How are you doing?
Doing okay. Had another disappointing pickleball night last night.
Oh, yeah? Tournament or just...
No, just Sunday league play. But I am not moving up the ladder like I had hoped I would be.
I played some paddle this morning, played 5 sets, won all 5 sets.
Nice.
One of my opponents did not take it well. He had a little bit of a hissy fit towards the end. He basically stopped running on the other side of the net. It was just like complete resignation that he was going to lose, which the thing that bothers me the most about it, and I've played against this guy a few times now.
Is that you're sandbagging people and they don't like it?
No, I mean, some of them do. I think a couple of them do kind of think, go play with people better than us. There are a few of them who have that. But then at the same time, I'm not going full speed. I'm probably playing this guy at, I would say 40%. And then occasionally, maybe on a big point, I might bump that up to like 70% if I really like, okay, I don't want to get broken here or break point. Let's just get this done with. But he seems to feel like I'm playing as hard as I can. So we played the first 2 sets. Me and my partner won 6-4, 6-4. And he's a big talker. This is the opponent, the guy. He's a big talker during points. You know, like he breaks a lot of what I consider to be tennis etiquette rules. So like if you miss a shot, he'll do a big celebration and stuff. Things where you're like, you're just kind of being a dick. Like you can celebrate when you do something well, but you know, like giving the big, he's Portuguese, giving like the big vamos when like my partner hits the ball into the net or double faults, like seems like a little bit of a dick move. Anyway, I thought, you know what, 3rd set, fuck it, let's move it up a gear. 6-love. And he mentally did not recover from that and just took it really badly. And I mean, it was just, it's things too, like I can hear them talking on the other side, and you're supposed to be having some tactical discussions, and there's a lot of communication in paddle in terms of speaking about, because someone might lob you and then you want your partner to tell you they both come to the net or one of them sticking back, like stuff like that, so you can hit the appropriate shot. With him, I could hear them in between points. Like, let's say they won a point, they'd be like, okay, yeah, he can't handle it if we lob him over his right-hand shoulder. It's like, dude, it will be fine. By all means, try it again. Just try it again. and yeah, it was, at the end, he just sort of sulked off by himself. And he was so bad towards the end that when after he left, his partner apologized, saying, I think he had a really rough weekend. I think he has a 1-year-old kid and it didn't go well.
So you don't think it's sandbagging if you're only going 40% and you're still beating people 6-love? You don't think you should be playing up a little bit then?
I do try and play up, but it's not always easy to find people at a higher level. So, you know, I would prefer to play more games against people closer to me, but it's not that easy. And that's not me trying to be a dick of like hard to find people as good as me. It's not really that, but it's just most of the people who, as you get up in the standard, they don't want to play with unknown people as much for that very reason. They want to feel like, so I have one group of guys who play lunchtime midweek, because a lot of them work remotely from my club. Like a lot of people will take their laptops and like work from there, and then
unreal.
And then like noon till 2, they'll play paddle. And I play with those guys sometimes. That's a very competitive level, but it's not as easy to find those games.
Yeah. I feel like it's weird that there's not like a better league system.
There's tournaments and things, and obviously I'm completely unranked as well. I've never played in a competitive game. So even if I tried to get into a league, I would have to start from the very bottom and work my way up. So it would be the same experience, just competitively, which I actually think there would be more annoying for my opponent of, oh, look, I'm here Tuesday night to play my competitive game. I just got absolutely wiped the floor with me. That's less fun.
But at least you'd start getting a ranking and like eventually work your way up.
Yeah, I mean, also too, it's all doubles, right? So I need to find a doubles partner. I was speaking to one of the guys who does play that lunchtime thing, and he said, "Oh, there's tons of tournaments. So the tough thing is they fill up so quickly." He was like, the last tournament he signed up for, registration opened Saturday at 10 a.m. and at 10:07 it was full. Like you need to have you or your partner ready to go to join all of these tournaments. But yeah, look, I try and play nicely. I am trying to play good points with them. So I actually think if it were me, this is just my mentality, I would rather be playing with someone better than me who I'm getting to play better points with.
Yeah, but here's the problem: is you're not playing people like you. You're
No, I
playing
know.
people
A
who
guy
like
who's never
probably either never played professional, like not professional sports, but like
thank you.
seriously competitive. Yeah, I'm sure you never played professional sports, but seriously competitive sports before.
Yeah, no,
And like
you
doesn't understand competition, or you're playing people who are just there to like recreationally exercise.
there's a mixture of both. But yeah, it's and there's some guys like there are some guys who really love it, I can tell, who are asking when the conversations take place of, "Are we playing tomorrow morning?" It's like, I get the, like, "Hey, are you coming tomorrow?" Like, those guys want the better challenge. They either wanna play with me or against me. But, there are definitely a couple who I think would rather they're guys who just wanna win, for sure. There's guys there's like the guy I played today, I think I'm gonna guess his win rate until I arrived was pretty high,
Yeah.
and now it's like, oh, I show up on a Monday morning at 9 a.m. and I just lose? Like, this is no
See,
fun. That's not how I wanna start my week.
those people kind of annoy me a little more because I had this similar experience when I used to play roller hockey in Arizona. I would play in the lower leagues, but I would do it literally just to get good cardio workout in. But there would be people who would just brutally complain that I was like playing way down and I shouldn't be in this league, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, listen, I take one shot a game. That's all I'm doing. Like the most you're gonna have me score is one goal. Like, cause I cut myself off. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
but like you're passing the puck around. It's like I'm trying to make everyone else better. Number two, like we're all just here to have fun. Like it doesn't matter if you win or
Yes.
lose. But then you get the people who would ask me to play because they wanted to win. Like, oh yeah, let's get Frank to play. And like we can win this game. And it's like, I'm not gonna just play on your team just so you can like win a game. Like I'm not doing that. Like you do see
Yeah.
like all the different types of players when you play down, and it almost never goes well, which is the annoying part.
No, yeah, no, for sure. And like to me, yeah, I just kind of want to have a good workout. Like Monday 9 a.m., I just want to go and get a decent sweat in as I play. So again, it's not in as I say to them, it's not in my interest to just hit a winner. Like I want to there's a lot of lobs, which means like I like being lobbed because if I'm lobbed, it means I have to track back, play a shot, kind of re-engage the point. To me, that's great. And in an ideal world, I want a rally of 20, 30 shots per point. It's not fun to me to just go winner. I mean, sometimes you can't help it. Like either if the two of them are standing next to each other, sort of on one side of the court, either I can look like a complete moron and play it back to them, or I have to just accept the fact that the point is about to end. But still, it's yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. I gotta go. I'm off to Brussels tomorrow, so I'll get a little rusty. Gotta go a couple days without playing paddle. I'm not
Who
gonna
says you
travel
can't
to
play in Brussels?
I'm not gonna travel to
All you gotta
Brussels
do
with
is
my
bring your paddle.
It is true. It is a sport that you could very easily travel with, similar to
Yeah.
pickleball. There's not a lot of equipment involved, but no, I don't think
Hey,
I'm not gonna try and
I went to Colorado for a week. I brought half my hockey gear.
that's a little bit more intense. I
Just an
wouldn't do
extra.
that.
Just an extra checked bag.
Yeah. No, I'd skip on that, but no, I'm not gonna go and try to find some random paddle game in Belgium. I'll give that a miss. Now, to the world of sport, guess we can kick things off. Last week, we said we will not be having any discussions about whether or not Arsenal will win the Premier League. I will not be sucked into the fact that people are overstating the importance of this first cup final. Historic cup final in terms of the fact that first and second playing each other in the League Cup final it's from what I understood, I may be fact checked on this, has never happened before where the teams currently first and second in the table have played each other in the League Cup final.
Wow.
There have been League Cup finals where then eventually those two teams finish first and second. But, this was a first time happening. So it sort of added this sort of chance for the two of them to go head to head and sort of test each other out. I have to be honest, it was
How'd that go?
not a great showing from Arsenal. Not a great showing. They were as boring as usual, but also lost, which is
Yeah.
like
It can't be as boring as usual when you play a team that can actually score and put you on your fucking back heel.
yeah, and look, ultimately, right, if Kepa didn't make that horrific mistake for the first goal, then who knows what would have happened because maybe that was going exactly how Arsenal wanted it to go. City were on top. Like City deserved to.
Yeah,
But we've
City work. It was like one of those like eventually they're gonna score kind of
maybe,
feelings.
but
Except it's Arsenal. I know, I get
we
it.
see this with them, and then they'll get a corner in the 83rd minute, and they score, and then it's like, oh, Arsenal won 1-0, and Arteta will say everything went to plan. So I agree with you. It felt like it was coming, and
It felt
City went
inevitable.
once City went 1-0 up, I didn't see a way back for Arsenal. I don't, like you can say, oh, the second goal was so important. It didn't seem like Arsenal were even. City kind of broke them by not pressing their central defenders. Very unusual. The gegenpress and just a heavy press up front has become the default approach. Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp were two of the managers who brought that to England. And City decided that they had absolutely no fear in Arsenal's ability to play from the back and just allowed Kepa or Arsenal's defenders to sit on the ball and didn't press them and just took all space away from them as they then tried to transition through to the midfield. It was kind of remarkable to watch. You just don't really see many teams do it. Arsenal had no idea what to do. And at one moment, it resulted in Kepa having the ball for almost a minute. Like,
Yeah.
just, like, completely brain broken as to what is he supposed to do at this stage, and then, ultimately just gave the ball away as in his attempt to remove himself of the responsibility. It's crazy, and that's where I do worry from Arsenal, is that other teams could watch that and go, "Oh, we'll just try that for a little bit." And I think in the Premier League, again, I'm not gonna get sucked in. I think their lead is big enough that I don't think that will matter too much. But in the Champions League, certainly, I think that's s definitely Sporting. I think they've gotta try that because they're going in as underdogs. But even if you get to a semifinal and a final against the likes of Barcelona, and then who knows who they play on the other side, you're gonna get that's tough if City have kind of figured out the game plan to play against them.
It's really unfortunate. I heard that the team that does that the best is Bodo Glimt. They're world renowned for that strategy, but unfortunately, they just didn't quite make it.
No. No, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be as I said, I still think Arsenal well on course, but I'll stick to my guns and I'll say this, they're not the best team in England.
Well,
They'll end up Premier League champions, but I think they were exposed yesterday.
there goes the quad. So they're already 0 for 1.
They're 0 for 1, yeah, but I really
Quad gone.
I'll go out on a limb and there's no way they're winning the treble. It would stun me at this stage. Like, it would just stun me. I think it's more likely that Manchester City win the Premier League than Arsenal win the treble. I just don't see how what we saw yesterday, how they can then I don't trust them at all in big games. I really don't.
Yeah, it's almost as if they thrive when the game isn't a big game because I know this probably is really incorrect to say because the team that they're playing, I'm sure, always thinks it's a big game. But it's like they kind of lull a team into not realizing the moment and then can score. Whereas, like, if it's a big game and a big moment, that team is kind of just like a little more amped up and prepared for it, that they can defend it a little better. Whereas, like, when it's like Fulham in week 25, and it's 0-0, maybe Fulham doesn't have that, like, if we win this game, we lift a trophy kind of feeling. And then they kind of lull them into a corner. And next thing you know, they've got a nice set piece that goes in.
I I just think ultimately it's yeah, they're very good at set pieces, and if they play against a weaker opposition, then they can kinda guarantee that they're gonna get 8 plus corners and, 5 or 6 other free kicks in good attacking positions. And that's a lot of like the XG from an Arsenal perspective, if you tell them that they have 12 plus good attacking set piece positions, is high. Whereas when you then go and play against City or as they get tested in the Champions League against Barcelona or Atletico Madrid, PSG, they are not guaranteed to have that number of attacking set pieces. So the onus is on them to kind of do something a little bit different. And okay, they don't only score from set pieces. I'm not trying to turn it into that, but it is one of the big threats. And you just see they just looked toothless yesterday. Like honestly, it just was, City didn't look amazing. So it's not even as if City's sort of best game was being played. City, I think, were almost surprised by how much of the ball they had without having to do that much. And again, this is what worries me again about Arsenal against good or better teams is you're by default getting 50% of the ball. Because even bad teams against Arsenal have 45, 46, 47% of the ball and occasionally more possession than Arsenal. And if you are just if you're saying, hey, we're a good team and we feel like we can get 55, 60% possession, play in their half for extended periods of time, which City were able to do. There were kind of a couple periods in that game where they just lived in Arsenal's half. And you're going to ride your luck if you're Arsenal then in order to win because you're going to need the other team to miss chances or you're going to have to be foot perfect at the back. And then eventually Kepa made a catastrophic mistake. Now, I think he should have been sent off anyway before. I think when he pulled Doku back, like,
oh yeah,
you can't tell me that when an attacking player gets the other goal side of the goalkeeper with no one immediately behind defending, that isn't a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity.
How is
Meanwhile,
it not when there will be no goalie to block the shot if he gets by?
Yeah. Like meanwhile at the weekend, he's on Friday night, Manchester United played Bournemouth and Harry Maguire pushes over a Bournemouth player as he gets by him, and that's a straight red card for denying a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity. It's like, yeah, there was still a goalkeeper there though. I mean, it's just so stupid. Like you're showing and it's like, oh well, he's quite wide or he's slightly heading away from goal. It's like, oh, okay, but I mean, he's not. I would still be very confident if Doku had had one extra stride that he would have at least gone close, slightly like trying to slide the ball into the net. I wouldn't have gone. What's the XG in that moment in time? Like on Doku, it's pretty high. It's over 0.5 in that scenario. So that to me feels like it should be a red card.
Yeah, empty net shot, pretty high XG.
Yeah, even from a slightly challenging position. It should just be I don't get it. I don't get how because also too, what made me laugh and listen to the commentary, Gary Neville was in agreement, just a yellow card. They had the refereeing specialist, similar to an NFL experience. You get the kind of rules expert come in, and I mean, they just mostly back up whatever decisions have been made on the pitch because it's a club where you don't want to I'm not going to expose referees for making bad decisions. At most, you might get, I'm a little surprised by that decision, but I can see why he made it. That's the strongest statement you get out of them. But everyone, yeah, yellow card. But then Gary Neville chimed in with, but I do think they should have played advantage just to see if the goal would have been scored. Hold on a second. So it's not a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity, but you wish that they'd played advantage to see if Doku had scored? That doesn't make a lot of sense for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, in the end, it didn't really matter, and Kepa obviously felt guilty because then he decided shortly afterwards that he would just spill the ball and make amends.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, it's like he's a gentleman.
Yeah, he's a good guy, Kepa. Gets a lot of, people criticize him for maybe not being the greatest goalkeeper of all time, and he's had some good career with some fairly embarrassing moments, and he's just a really good sportsman. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it was kind of obviously the rest of the Premier League this weekend, not super eventful. Chelsea lost. Spurs lost again. Those are two fairly new managers who definitely don't appear to be settling in the way in which you would have hoped. Liam Senior continues to look a little bit silly in both what he says in the press and how he handles himself on the touchline. Look, the nature of the internet means that you get easily memed, and Rossinier kind of lends himself, towards being memed. Sending a substitute on with a minute to go when you're losing 3-0 and handing a note with instructions. I think you could probably give that a miss. Like I'm all for fighting until the last whistle and trying to do things in the right way, so have the right policies and not encourage players to check out. But maybe with a minute, 90 seconds to go, you can decide the note probably doesn't need to be passed.
Where'd the note go? Did he eat it?
I don't know. I don't even get the note system. I don't understand why. I don't know what all these special secrets they're always supposed to be
It was
passing
like
to
a
them.
happy face drawing.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I mean, the worst version of this, obviously, I can say this as a Blackburn Rovers fan, when Paul Ince was Blackburn manager, and he always stood on the touchline with a little notebook and would take notes. And everyone always wondered what he was taking because the team was shit. So, like, what on earth was he preparing? And once it literally, and his little notepad it was the outline of a football pitch kind of on his notepads. And he had, in the penalty area, he'd just written shoot. That was the very important note that
I
he
like
needed
that.
to take, and the camera kind of caught that and zoomed in to reveal what he had taken. I mean, I do wonder to a large extent, same with the whispering behind the mouth and all this, how how big of a secret is it? And whatever instruction you're providing to those players, surely the opposition figures that out within 30 seconds anyway. Like if it's things like, oh, you two switch, oh, left wing and right wing, swap over. That, oh, okay, well, we figured that out as soon as they did it. Or, you're going to pick him up now when he breaks into our, like, it's not as if the only time it could maybe be a bit of a secret worth keeping is from a set piece or something where you're going to have a sort of planned maneuver. But otherwise, what's so secretive about the instructions that you're passing on? I don't really get it. Now, what did take place this weekend as well was that highly anticipated, bizarre flag football tournament with a host of
Uh,
uh, YouTubers and former and current NFL players, as well as the USA's flag football team. Now, you've been heavily on record for kind of mocking some of the USA flag football players for, hey, when the Olympics roll around, if any of the current NFL players want to play, you don't stand a chance of making the team. I have to admit, I did watch a little bit of this. The flag footballer players might make the team.
yeah. I mean, the flag football team USA flag football dominated the whatever you want to call the other two teams, the NFL/celebrity teams. I mean, there's a few big caveats here. One, the NFL players have never really played much flag football altogether. Definitely not as a team. Two, those aren't the best guys in the NFL for the most part. I mean, like, okay, I'll say Saquon Barkley, probably
Mhm.
still one of the best running backs in the NFL. Besides that, you have Odell Beckham Jr., who can't even fucking make a team anymore. He's the star wide receiver. The star quarterback is a 48-year-old creepy guy. Like,
Whoa, what is that? He
I
actually
don't
looked
know.
reasonably good, though.
He looked
I
pretty
mean,
good, but
the sad
he's
thing
been
is he
pretty
looked
creepy in the media lately.
he looked better than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, who is not very good
No.
quarterback. Luke Kuechly is
Yeah,
their
he didn't know where he
star
was.
defensive player. Logan Paul or whatever, Jake Paul. I forget what Paul it is. I don't really care what Paul it is. Like the NFL players were not the best of the NFL players.
They
Having
weren't.
said that, yes, I agree with you. Team USA did pretty much dominate them. I just think still a lot of those players can be replaced talent-wise.
Look, in terms of raw athletic ability, sure, but when you saw, like, that one move that guy did where he sort of
Yeah.
did that weird
Duck
dragging his ankles in the
yeah.
ground and, like, walking like a duck quickly in between players so they couldn't pull a flag, no NFL player is ever gonna make that move, and as
Well,
stupid as
you saw Barkley kind of do it in this next game he played. Like, he kinda had not like he didn't duck down like that and drag his leg, but, like, he was able to duck through 2 players and then
Yeah.
around a third, and he learned that in 2 days of playing flag football.
Well, I
Do
think
you know
they
what I mean?
practiced a bit
Like,
more, and I'm
I
sure
don't
he's
think
played
they
flag
did.
I
I think
think he's
that's an overstatement.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Saquon Barkley's played flag football before. Like, I doubt
You
that's the
think he's
first
played
time.
competitive flag football games?
What do we mean by competitive? Do I think he's played with his friends growing up as a kid and maybe played some flag football games? I mean, do I think as an
I'm gonna say almost
adult?
no.
I don't think as an adult.
I think he's played like the 7-on-7s with like little children as he became an NFL star.
Probably he's done that.
So that's what he's doing.
Like a Make-A-Wish day.
Yeah.
He's probably done
Or
that.
not like a camp, like like the flag camps they have.
Yeah, like a Manning camp. I don't know. Because you can say, "Oh, it wasn't the best version." And sure, maybe Tom Brady has slight aspirations of playing in the Olympics. That wouldn't blow my mind if that's what he tried to do. And, okay, Luke Kuechly's definitely not playing just because already
Gronk.
Gronk also tore his hamstring in that
Yeah.
thing, so that's probably the end of him. But Jalen Hurts might have been up on the list of quarterbacks who you felt like were more suitable for playing flag football in that he's a pretty mobile quarterback who runs a lot with the ball. So whilst
But he
he's
can't
not
throw.
Yeah, but you would probably say he's got a better arm than whoever's playing quarterback for the USA flag football team, right? So I agree.
Would you?
Like, because basically Lamar Jackson is number one choice by a long way, I'm guessing. But other than that, I don't know. Burrow was there.
Did he even play? Jaden Daniels was there. Was that the smartest move? To put a guy who's been injured every season he's played the NFL to play fucking flag football?
That's
dumb.
That's the insane thing. Now, I guess I can get that from a player's perspective. You're like, hey, look, we're going to be doing training and drills anyway, and this is no more because it's non-contact. This is no more of exertion than I would put on my body if I was just, off in California training for the spring. But it does seem kind of strange if you're a player if you're Burrow or Daniels, who every season you struggle with injuries, you'd think from an optics perspective that you would stay home and leave that to quarterbacks who don't have similar injury problems. But
Yeah.
I guess the
I'll
money's
tell you what.
nice.
I watched, I don't know, maybe half a dozen highlights on Instagram, and I had absolutely no desire to go and like watch more of the game.
Oh, it's going to be awful in the Olympics. Like, it is.
It might be okay in the Olympics. Like, I mean, that might be slightly more competitive than what was put on display there.
Oh, it's going to be way more competitive. But flag football is kind of unwatchable. Like, ultimately, it's so stupid to have this thing. Like, again, is it impressive to, again, use that reference to the guy doing that weird duck walk in between two tackles? Is that athletically impressive? Yes. Could I do that? 100% no. At the same time, is it sort of stupid? Like, is it undeniably dumb? And is it just like, yeah, and in other words, Luke Kuechly could have just ripped your head off if you were just playing normal football. Like, but because he's going to specifically grab a tiny little ribbon hanging from your waist and you're just kind of like dragging your butt on the ground to try and make it harder for him to do it. It's kind of stupid. Like, but maybe it will surprise me. Look, it's the Olympics. I'll watch it because it will be on.
I'm sure I'll watch anything in the Olympics.
But I don't go in with high expectations, and I hope that it's one and done from an Olympic perspective. Anyway, people know me. I'll definitely be rooting against whoever plays the USA. So that'll be.
Hey, maybe with your great athleticism, you could get on Team France or Team England, or I should say Team GB.
No, because the thing is, again, I actually think those flag footballs, like when you see the international games, some of those weird European nations and stuff are reasonably competitive because, again, it's people who've learned to play flag football. They haven't learned how to play football necessarily. So you'll see quarterbacks with terrible throwing mechanics, but they get the ball where they need to get it. And then the guys are like fast and athletic enough and do the weird things so that it's hard to tackle them. I don't know. I don't know. Again,
So you think that's your issue? If it were real football, then you would have made the Team France or Team GB. It's that it's flag football. That's your real issue.
I'd probably have more of a chance because with whatever athletic ability I have left, I have a better chance of finding a position in a non-flag football game that I could be useful than in a flag football game where
Kicker.
elusiveness, for sure, where elusiveness is going to play such a high degree of, like I'm never going to compete from that perspective. But ultimately, yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm not begrudging. If you told me there was a good flag football league being played near me, I would go and play and enjoy it. I'm not shitting on people who play flag football. I can get why, especially as you age and you don't want to go and play a game and get absolutely just obliterated by some guy who decides he has nothing to lose in his life and his job. And so he's happy to just destroy himself as he takes you out at the knees. That doesn't interest me at all. But if you told me there was like actually a fun competitive flag football league, you could get me playing that pretty easily. But that doesn't mean that I want to sit down and watch it live on TV. Like those are two different things.
But I will during the Olympics.
Possibly, if it doesn't clash with anything that I have a remote level of interest in. If it's flag football versus the first heat of some swimming, then okay, flag football probably gets it. If it's up against the final of anything, no. No. But yeah, if it's flag football versus, it's either that or round one of one of the shooting events, okay, I'll tune in for flag football. In other sporting news, not a huge amount going on at the moment, in fairness.
Well, you have the March Madness, NCAA men and women's basketball.
Yeah, with no upsets.
Well, yeah, last night the number 1 seed went down. Florida went down.
Yeah, but
to Iowa.
in the second round, not the
to a
but
9
ultimately,
seed. It's still decent upset.
yeah, but ultimately the higher ranked seed has now like an 87% win rate so far through the tournament. The theories are basically that NIL is killing like kind of some of the upset thing. I love this because last year there were a lot of upsets, and supposedly that was because NIL was making players change teams more frequently with good teams, so they didn't have the same level of cohesion and chemistry, and so that's why the big teams were losing. And then, although I know that the ones all made the Final Four, but like up and in the early rounds, you had a few more sort of fourth and fifth seeds and stuff going down. This year, all those mid-range teams are cruising through, and that's because now they have NIL deals, so they can get better players. Like it's whichever way the cards fall, the analysis will basically be it's because of NIL.
Yeah, so you have 3 number 1 seeds still left, 4 number 2 seeds still left, 2 number 3 seeds, and 3 number 4 seeds. So a pretty good percentage. And look, the first round had a good amount of upsets with 12s over 5s and 13s over 4s. There were a few good ones of those, but at the end of the day, when you got down to the Sweet 16, most of those teams didn't really make it. You have Iowa at a 9 seed, and Texas at an 11 seed. And yes, while those are underdogs, it's not like it's a Santa Clara 11 seed. You're talking about a Big 10 program in Iowa and a Big 12 program in Texas. I mean, those aren't, or I should say SEC in Texas. Like those aren't.
Yeah, they're not
those are
small
upsets,
programs.
but yeah, they're programs who are probably dishing out a ton of money for their program.
Yeah. I did watch a thing in the build-up to one of the Duke games this weekend about the Boozer brothers, the Boozer twins. And obviously I knew their dad, Carlos Boozer, the former NBA player, played with the Bulls and a host of other teams.
Well, former Duke star, dude.
Yes. I had no idea about the fact that they were born to save their brother's life. I feel like this story should be made. I'm sure it's reasonably well covered. It's not as if I saw it for the first time, like no one had ever spoken about it before. But I feel like that should be before every game should be spoken about in great detail because it's an insane story.
Yeah. It's true. I've probably only ever heard it like once.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, granted, I don't watch college basketball very much, though, so maybe that's why.
But it should be like the headline on March Madness is coming up. Let us tell you about the fact. So for listeners of the podcast who are completely unfamiliar with this story, Carlos Boozer, at the time NBA player, had his first child, a son, who was born with sickle cell anemia. And there were no in his family, there was no one who could kind of have I think he required a bone marrow, um, transfusion, and there was no one in his family that was a close enough genetic match. But they found out they kind of went and did some research and discovered that their best chance was basically to go through IVF and to select a cell that had exactly the same genetic composition as their son, but without the sickle cell anemia element, which is what they did, and then fertilized that cell, had twins from it, and then as soon as those twins were born, they used them for the bone marrow transplant and saved their elder brother's life, who's now gone on to lead a normal life and not affected by sickle cell anemia.
Yeah.
It's an insane story in terms of, again, that just feels like you'll hear, "Oh, they're twins. That's crazy." And, "Oh, their dad used to play in the NBA. That's crazy." It's like on the list of the 3 interesting things about them, it's this is by far and away the most interesting.
Well, it's actually even a little crazier too because it has been an E60 story. That's what I just saw. So it's an ESPN E60 story. But they had to go through IVF because they had to rule out like them also not having sickle cell
Yeah.
and then also rule in that they'd be a perfect match. So
Yeah.
you kind of had to go through IVF to get a lot of potential embryos to then kind of consider which ones were the best to then implant through the IVF route. And out of the 34 eggs that they harvested, only 2 embryos were considered a perfect match, or 2 eggs were only a perfect match. So out of the 34, they only had 2, and then both of those obviously became the brothers, and then they did the umbilical cord blood after birth to do the transplant, which is that's crazy. Like
Mhm.
that's good science. That's how you can see science has progressed in a positive way to benefit society.
I mean, you wonder, did they ever just consider putting their older son, just getting him to eat raw beef? Just like, did they think about that? Like, it could have saved them some time.
Yeah,
They could have just tried that for a while. It might have worked. Any other sports stories to discuss?
not much. Like you said, pretty slow week. I mean, unless you're huge into college basketball, which unfortunately I think I'm getting less and less as the years go on. Um, I've maybe watched 30 minutes that entire 4 days spread there. I mean, I was at a conference as well, so I didn't have the time to really sit down and watch it during the day and stuff like, sometimes you normally do when you're younger and just go out and spend a whole day watching it. But I will also say, and I know you kind of probably feel the same way, the insane betting culture has also kind of dampened it a little for me. Like
Yeah.
I am all in for, first day of March Madness. Hey, let's go to a bar with a bunch of guys, just hang out and, make a day of it. And let's bet on every underdog or every favorite. That's fine. And I think that can be super fun. And you spend a lot of time and, you can go from game to game and watch game to game. That's all fine and well. But then to like go to a bar and be like, we're going to bet that the first shot is a 3-point made, then the next shot's a 2-point miss, and then someone's going to lose their shoe, and we're going to win
Yeah.
$5,000, and we're going to go crazy. It's so fucking annoying. This insanity of being able to bet on anything at any time is kind of ruining sports in a way.
And it's really interesting to watch in the US because, like, you've been able to do that in the UK forever. Like, it's been around a long time that you could log in to any online bookmaker and craft all sorts of crazy bets about, what will happen first and timing of first corners and first goals and who's going to have the first shot on target. And you could do that. And whilst there are definitely people who place bets like that and who put bet builders together that have all sorts of different components. And we even have one friend of ours who throws things into bet builders there. I go, that's kind of insane. Like, this will never happen.
As you were saying that, it was just going through my head like, oh man, we're taking shots at him.
But even then, his bet builders aren't that stupid.
Over 3.5 shots per half.
But it's been interesting that, like, that's never really become the big culture like the obscure niche betting has never really become the focus. Like, yeah, you'll have people who do, I did first goal scorer or I did this and like,
Yeah.
yeah, but but that's like betting on an NFL game, first touchdown scorer. That's not a weird thing to have done. But it does feel like in the US, because content creation has become so much part of how people talk about betting and cover betting, that then you have to just have guys on Instagram and TikTok and stuff who are constantly every day like, if you do this bet, it will turn $50 into $25,000. And it's true. Sometimes when you look at it, it doesn't look that crazy, but it's just, yeah, there's a reason why the odds are what they are. Probably
Yeah.
not going to win.
Well, and what was crazy is you sent me one that was an annoying, stupid sequence of scoring, and it was
Yes.
100 to win 1,000. And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's it." And I know people are gonna be like, "What do you mean that's it? That's 10 to 1." But like, it was like
It wasn't that crazy though. All they did was they bet on a two to be like first score to be a 2-pointer, second score to be also be a 2-pointer, and then third score to be a free throw.
a 1 pointer. That's kind of strange to go 2-2-1.
Well, it's just a one that's the only strange thing, right? Like
I
that's
guess.
the only reason that's 10 to 1 versus, because if you just did 2-2-2, that's like even
Well, I
money
guess too.
probably.
At first, I guess I was thinking it had to be did it have to be each sequence? Do you know what I mean? Did it, like,
Yeah, yeah. No, it could have
but
been any team.
oh, okay. I thought it had to be like a team to score the first
No.
possession, that team had to score 2. The next possession, that team had to score
No, no, no,
2.
no.
The next possession, they had to score 1.
No, it was just like literally the point scored. And so it could have, the thing that confused me is as they were as they were selling this
What
bet,
if it was
I
like a 2 and a 1?
I thought no, that would have counted. I thought they either needed an and one, or they needed the guy to like miss one of the free throws. Like that's how I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, this is not that, because it was like, oh, we need 2-2-1. But no, it just turned out like an and one would have been fine,
But
or
but again, the fact that we're having to like discuss the semantics of this bet just makes it a
oh, it's
stupid
stupid.
bet.
And they're sitting in a sports book wildly. I mean, I just again, if you're sitting in a sports book, there's going to be annoying people around you. But I could have been it could have been you and I just sitting there because we happened to be, I don't know, in Las Vegas for a conference then, and had been like, "Oh, let's go and watch one of the March Madness games," sitting in the sports book for 20 minutes. And you have those assholes sitting next to you sort of celebrating and holding each other back as a two-pointer and then a random free throw is made to make the score 3-2 3 minutes into the game. I mean, it's just ruins it. I
Yeah.
also think too is like the thing that was always cool about March Madness was the bracket. And ultimately, betting on sports has ruined the bracket, because it's like, why would I do a bracket when that I have very little chance of winning money on, when I could
Yeah.
just place my own sports bets?
Yeah. And in fact, I almost didn't even do a bracket this year. The only reason I even did one is because my family put together like a small, group to do it. And I kind of 3 days of being like, Frank, join the bracket, and I was like, all right, fine,
Yeah,
I'll just do it real quick.
I
But I
miss
had
brackets.
actually like I had no desire to do it because it's like it's kind of lost its flair. Because you're right, I would instead just rather bet some of the games straight up and
Yeah,
have a better chance to
and
win at least a
of
little money.
yeah, versus send your bracket in, like PayPal someone some cash, and then after the first day be like, "Well, my bracket's toast." Like
Set
that's
fire to that
like,
PayPal. Yeah.
that's done. Like, well, and okay, that
Yeah.
could happen with any bet I place as well, but it's a little bit less frustrating. Of like, I guess I still kind of need to semi follow this bracket. Like maybe I have a chance if somehow two of the teams I have left squeeze through and nothing else kind of goes against me. But now, one other sporting topic, actually, and it's a shame. Former co-host Sam, this is one example of when I do wish he was still on the podcast, because he and I have a long history, actually, of enjoying FIFA World Cup songs, the official songs. When we were living together heading into the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. And Jake, who listens to this podcast, was also part of this. Like we had me, Jake, Sam, and Tom, who lived in our house. We got the FIFA World Cup game, and we used to play that a lot, like after class, before class, sort of as we were heading towards summer of that year when we were all graduating, and loved it. Loved the music of the FIFA that was Waka Waka was the official song. Now, I don't think Waka Waka was the best ever official song, but the whole music video, like the whole selection of music for that World Cup was excellent. There's some real classics. Ricky Martin's 1998 World Cup song was excellent. I'm also a huge fan of all of the music for the 1998 World Cup. As you know, I've spoken to you about it previously. I think Delamitri's song for the Scotland World Cup bid to Don't Come Home Too Soon is one of the best songs for a World Cup ever because of its just acceptance of Scotland's likelihood of failure. But the US released, or the US, Canada, and Mexico released the official song for this year's World Cup. Have
Is it
you
Bad
heard any of
Bunny?
this? It is Jelly Roll,
Oh, God.
Karen Leon, FIFA Sound.
Is
Think
FIFA
is all.
sounds just sounds from the game of FIFA?
I don't know what, but that's attributed. Like that's getting a credit on the artist. The song is called Lighter.
I
Would
have
you like
not
to
heard it
listen?
actually.
Oh,
Oh,
you're in for a treat.
okay. Is it AI
Yeah,
generated?
I wish it would probably be better.
Are we gonna get in trouble here?
No, because this is fair usage. We're critiquing
Oh,
it.
okay.
I'm
Love it.
high.
I gotta say, nothing says football like Southern singing,
Like like
talking about cowboy boots.
like fake country music, like
Yeah.
country pop.
Yep.
What I love about it too, the best way I think I could describe that is that's the type of song you hear in a Dude Perfect video. That's like it should just be the background in a Dude Perfect video. It's a good cut for anyone, but it doesn't. And again, there's plenty of history. World Cup, FIFA World Cup songs don't need to be about football. Like Waka Waka it's not singing about football, but you're supposed to be kind of singing about the country a little bit, and it's supposed to be upbeat for the most
Yeah, they're
part.
they're taking the chains off. They feel lighter. That's our country.
Yeah, yeah. Really, given everything currently going on in the U.S., that's wonderful messaging. But it's a little too depressing and serious. Like, I mean,
It's got no. It's not fun.
no,
That's the
and it's
main thing.
supposed to
Listen,
be.
listen. I am as far from a music critic as you could ever get. Like with my
Oh wow.
choice of music, my lack of really listening to much music, but I can tell you now that song is not fun. There's nothing fun about that song.
No, that I don't want to hear with a World Cup song, you sort of want it to be in an ideal world, right? The sort of theme for that World Cup, you want it to be a
Yeah,
bit of a party atmosphere, a celebration of
yeah.
football. And, let me contrast that just a little
You
bit
know,
more
waka
music
waka
in the
me.
episode. Everyone knows Waka Waka. I'm gonna go the Cup of Life, Ricky Martin's song for the 1998 World Cup. We could just compare and contrast and see, you know, the world used to be a happier place back then.
Now we're talking.
Gonna cut it off before the main chorus, but very
Oh, it's
different.
yeah, and I'll put this in in a metaphorical sense like you did. Now that I could hear to the background of playing like FIFA or Madden, and I'd be
Yes.
happy.
Yeah. Or you're in a bar and the World Cup's going on and you're in one of the host
Yeah,
cities and that gets thrown on like every night and people start to dance. They're like sort of learning the words as the World Cup continues because they're becoming more familiar with it. That's the song that's going to get played at the opening ceremony,
yeah.
probably also
Fun
at the
song.
final as well. Everyone's going to be having a good time.
I
What's
mean,
remarkable while
look at those
watching that.
women. They loved it in the
I
video.
was gonna I was gonna kind of comment on that. Ricky Martin didn't come out as gay officially until 2010. How did anyone watch that music video and not go, "I'm pretty sure that guy's gay"?
Well,
No, no,
I was
that's not
actually
a
gonna say he looks pretty handsome in that video. You
he's
forget
an
how good
extreme
looking. You forget how good looking Ricky Martin was. He was
ex
a good
still
looking
is.
guy.
Still is.
He
Still looks
still is,
very
but back in the day, man, he
in
was
his
a
prime.
hell of a good looking guy. Jesus, that must have
Yeah,
been nice.
I mean, we get into this conversation that you and I still think he looks very good for 54,
Yeah, yeah,
but
that's fine. That's fine.
but
Yeah, I
yes,
know. I get
prime
that.
Ricky Martin is,
That
probably
guy
an
probably had a
underappreciated.
hell of a hard time.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't into the thing that people were mostly going out after him for.
I mean, you don't think men thought he was attracactive too?
No,
I
I
literally
know, but he was
just said
trying to
I
keep
thought he was good
he
looking.
he was oh, okay, I didn't realize you would have thrown yourself at Ricky had
Oh, and Ricky. I just call him Rick.
oh, wow, you really, Americanized his name, Rick Martin, but he that's a very different guy. But yeah, it's,
Rick, yeah.
but yeah, that's the type of song the US should have been aiming for, and I mean, of course, Ricky Martin would have been a more suitable singer of, Mexican like a North American World Cup than he was a suitable like, the only reason he's chosen for France '98 is because Ricky Martin was
Super
big at the
popular.
time, and that was part of his big album. That was the summer of Ricky to a large extent.
Rick.
Yeah, the summer of but yeah, it's a shame.
I mean, you know what? I made the joke, is it AI generated? That sounded like an AI generated song.
A little bit.
The what is it? Lighter, whatever, lighters, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. And I cannot remember, in fairness. So the ones that stick out in my mind are The Cup of Life, the one we just listened to, and, uh, as well, Waka Waka. I do somewhat remember South Korea was Boom by Anastasia. I don't know how well that's aged,
Boom,
but it's
boom, clap. That one? It's
I
not.
don't remember at all. Russia 2018 was Live It Up by Nicky Jam featuring Will Smith. I
Oh
don't
God.
remember that.
You know who's not aged well? Will Smith.
No. And 2014 from Brazil. Now, I don't remember this song. I'm gonna guess if we threw this song on, which we've had enough, but We Are One, Ole Ola by Pitbull featuring Jennifer Lopez. I'm
I
sure
remember that
that's a
one.
I'm sure that's a exactly the type of song I want it to be. Like, honestly, they should have just gone to Pitbull and said, "You just do what you do," because Pitbull is the perfect artist for a
Yeah.
World Cup anthem. Like, just be happy, talk to us about your Mr. Worldwide.
Worldwide. He says worldwide all the
Yeah,
time.
over
Like,
and
he is
over again.
Mr. Worldwide. Is
Yeah.
there anyone better to represent a worldwide competition than Mr. Worldwide himself?
No. I mean, that should have been the move. Oh, well.
Or like, I mean, if you really wanna, I guess I don't even know who pays for this or sanctions this, but, like, if the US and North America really want to make a statement, they could have went to one of the bigger singers and been like, "Hey, do you have a song or a CD coming out that you have, like, a banger? Like, we will pay you a ton of money if that is then, like, the quote anthem of the World Cup." You know, because they does still get the rights to it, but it's just kind of now is associated as the World Cup song. But like, you know, you could have hedged your bets a little bit there and went to someone famous and asked them for one of their good upcoming songs instead of like I mean, the Jelly Roll. This is such a weird. That is so weird to me. Like
Yeah.
that's such a weird pick.
Yeah, you
And
gotta
I'm
go
not,
pop.
and I'm not like bashing Jelly Roll. Like he has
No.
good songs and he's a good singer. Like he has a great voice, but like it's just it's a strange pick. Is he the
Yeah.
embodiment of North America? Like is that like
Well,
I feel like his music is
physically, yes. But
hey, he lost
but
like 200 pounds.
yeah, still. But 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 in terms of yeah, like, America's inundated with, like, great pop artists.
That's
It's
what I
not
think.
like
Like when I think of
you
America, I think pop.
you don't have a shortage of good pop options available. Even if you'd gone like, "Oh, we're gonna go something classic and get someone older to do it." So, 'cause even looking at the list too, for 1994, obviously the US hosted then, that time it was Gloryland by Daryl Hall and the Sound of Blackness. Now, never heard that song, I don't think.
Yeah, little Hall notes or just Hall of Oates.
Just Hall. Oates
Just
did not
Hall,
make the
no
cut.
Oates. No one wants Oates.
No. Oates got left at home on that one. But I'm tempted to give that one a listen just to see, but I'm sure it's good. But I'll listen to that separately and can encourage all listeners to do so. But yeah, it just feels like, and again, it doesn't necessarily have to be an American because it's a North
Oh, well.
American. No, but you would have, because in an ideal world, you would have thought you would have wanted one artist from Mexico, one artist from the US, one artist from Canada. All of those have
Give me
got,
like Bieber, Bad Bunny, and
oh,
Ariana Grande.
well,
Gold. That's
Bad
gold.
Bunny's American, but yeah, it's, he still didn't get a Mexican
I know
American.
he's American. I know he is,
You're,
but
you're just going
he's
for like
beloved. He's beloved
Latino.
by the Mexican community. Yes.
Bieber, 100%. Like they should have. They should have blank checked to Bieber. Just unfortunately, I think Bieber's in too much of a serious phase in his life and
Serious?
career.
Is that what we're calling it right now? I'll call it something else, but
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he wants to do, like, the Bieber pop artist version
if it were
anymore.
hockey, maybe he would.
Maybe. But yeah, I feel like Canada's got a decent number of very successful pop artists. The US obviously has a ton. Mexico has a ton. Seems like a missed opportunity from my perspective. I
All
can
right, now that
guarantee I
go
never
ahead.
want to hear that song in public. That's basically now that we've done that, what?
Now that we've started to get into the pop culture, anything else?
So I'm sure we're going to discuss The Pit. Before we
Yeah.
discuss The Pit, I
Okay.
watched 2 movies this weekend. It was a slower sports weekend. So I watched.
You watched Strange Dreams twice.
That's every weekend. That just gets me in the mood for a Saturday. I just want a nice. But no, I watched a movie that I didn't actually over the last week. I've watched 3 movies, so I want to give all
Okay.
3 of them a shout out. I watched 2 movies that I thought going into it, these are going to be bad movies, but they're supposed to be bad movies, and that's okay. So I watched Greenland 2.
Did you watch Have you seen Greenland 1?
I've seen Greenland 1. Yeah, I'm not a complete
Okay.
psycho. I'm not starting with the sequel. So, I knew Greenland 1. It's a bad movie, but it's like a fine,
Yeah.
just throw it on. It'll
Airplane movie.
entertain you. Yes, it's a very good airplane movie. I was not on an airplane. I also watched Anaconda, the remake, the reboot with Jack Black and Paul Rudd. I, again, went into that. It has terrible reviews. I went into it like, this is not going to be a good movie, but this was Sunday, like mid-afternoon. It was actually after the cup final. It was like, let me just throw this on as a.
I never would have guessed in a million years you watched the remake of Anaconda.
Yeah. And then the third movie I watched, this was Saturday night, I watched the Peaky Blinders movie.
Oh, that I could see.
So Peaky Blinders movie.
I can see you hate watch that.
I love Peaky Blinders, but I went in.
Yeah, but you haven't liked it the last few seasons.
The last season was rough. Can I rank these? I'll start off. Do you want me to rank these movies in the order in which from most to least enjoyed? Yes. Not good.
Go ahead. Yeah,
Okay.
I got it.
I enjoyed Anaconda the most out of the 3.
Unbelievable. This is so unfair because whenever I say I enjoy a movie, you're like, but it's complete shit. That movie sucked.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to admit that
but when you do it, it's completely fine.
No, because here's the difference is you defend it as a good movie. I know Anaconda, the reboot, it's a terrible movie.
But if you
it's
enjoyed
enjoyable.
it, that makes it good.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's not. No. 2? Greenland 2.
Oh,
shockingly,
man. Poor Peaky
bottom
Blinders.
of the pile, Peaky Blinders, the movie. It is awful.
Really?
The whole, and again, I'm going to avoid any spoilers, so I'm not.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
And there've not been a huge amount whilst there's been press about it. There's not been too much revealed about the plot, so I'm not going to spoil it. I'll say
this real quick. Hold on, before you say that. I'm also coming from a person who absolutely loved Peaky Blinders until actually for me it was like the last 2 seasons. Well,
Yeah.
Once he started becoming a politician, it kind of lost its steam. And it's sad because I was one of the biggest proponents as an American, because because at the time not many
hadn't caught on that
Americans
much at that point.
had, had watched it. I was still watching it, getting like illegal streams from BBC, or was it BBC, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, because it hadn't even been on Netflix yet. Like, I was an early American proponent for Peaky Blinders, and like, I don't really have much of a desire to even watch the movie because
Mhm.
it tailed off so much in those last few seasons.
So, yeah, I'm similar to you. I loved the first couple of seasons. I thought it was one of the best shows on television for those first couple of years, and then, yeah, the plot lines became too convoluted, and it just went on too long. The movie is awful.
Wow.
It has none of the charm of the original Peaky Blinders. Starters, very few people are in it from obviously some of those characters have been killed off over the years, and this is set
Easy,
in
easy.
the later years. No, 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 but there's no spoilers here, but fundamentally, the only character is Thomas Shelby, who's in it from previous. I'll I'll tell you right now, just so you don't go in. There's no Tom Hardy. That character, the character that everyone really loves, Alfie Solomon, who, like, constantly gets the best reviews when people talk about the character they like in Peaky Blinders, not in it. So, I think Tom Hardy knew, "I don't wanna be part of this one." But it is if you thought, "Hey, do you know what I just do you know what I need to see Tom Shelby and the Peaky Blinders do? Is fight the Nazis?" Then this is the movie for you. If
Well, yeah, so I listened to an interview with, Cillian Murphy, and he had said that the creator or the director, the creator of the show, his original kind of one of his main takes was that he wanted to portray someone who lived basically through World War One to World War II, which actually is a really good idea when you think about it, because there probably were a lot of people who were just young enough to have been in World War One and lived through the horrors of World War One, and then at the back end of it, potentially have also either directly participated in World War II, or yeah, I mean, even indirectly, being in England or France or somewhere like that, like have it greatly affect their lives. And that's actually like a really you don't he's right in that you don't really see many stories or movies about that. And I'm sure there were a lot of people that had to go through that, and that must have been absolute fucking hell. But it doesn't sound like it hit.
I mean, yeah, look, is that interesting? Conceptually, yeah. I don't think it's as I saw similar discussions. I mean, I think, like, I'm of the age where my grandparents fought in World War II, and then their parents fought in World War One. And so the idea, like, what my great grandparents were dead before I was born, but certainly I grew up with just a description of my grandfather, my great grandfather not wanting my grandfather to go to war in World War II because of the horrors he'd seen in World War One. So it doesn't come across to me, and I don't think there's anything particularly unique about that. To me, it like doesn't come across quite as novel in that it's like, yeah, I just anyone who was born in around 1900, then by the time they were 50, they'd lived through 2 world wars if they hadn't died in either one of them, or, like, that's what their life was. But I don't think it's weird to me to kind of want to portray that, if that was the intended goal, because ultimately, in the end, we don't get a lot of the Peaky Blinders in World War One. It's just sort of flashbacks and PTSD. So, like, it's a theme
Yeah.
within the
But they did
show.
it really well,
They
I think.
did, but if your goal was wanted, like, to really do that, because I don't believe that ultimately, like, that was the original vision. If that had been, then you almost would have wanted to dedicate a bit more time to the World War One experience rather than just, "Here's Thomas Shelby in a tunnel. We can't see shit. Someone got stabbed." Which is kinda like, this is all we really saw. Oh, like, one of them's one of those lost his mind again because he can't forget what happened in Flanders. Like, that's sort of as that's how the Peaky Blinders portrayed World War One. And then World War II,
Awesome,
it's
just mocking PTSD. Great move.
no, but as it was portrayed in Peaky Blinders a little bit. And
Actually, I
then
thought they did a good job in Peaky Blinders.
it's
I think that first
yeah,
season, I think it's pretty good.
it is. Yeah, but and then there's no spoilers here. when I say they fight the Nazis, they don't go to Germany. This is still all in Birmingham. So it's Birmingham during the Blitz. So it's Birmingham getting bombed, which is obviously a very real thing. And
Yeah.
then Peaky Blinders in Birmingham, and some Nazis kind of end up being there for reasons that make absolutely no fucking sense. But I won't spoil anything. But uh, I don't know. And I'll be honest with you, again, I really love the TV show. The final season or 2 plus the movie has left such a sour taste in my mouth that now probably if someone came to me and said, "Was Peaky Blinders good?" Unfairly, I would probably give it a much lower score, and I might even tell someone, "You can skip it,"
Well,
because
I
it
always give
tails
people the
off.
preface. Like, I've done this for a few shows. It's like, first 4 seasons, phenomenal. Just, like, watch the first 4, then just stop.
But when you know it ends, because you can't just stop, right? Because, like, ultimately, this is like telling someone Game of Thrones, which I was never into Game of Thrones, but this is like telling someone, "You're gonna watch Game of Thrones, you're gonna enjoy," what was it, 7 seasons or season
Yeah,
8?
yeah,
Season
you'll
8?
enjoy the first, like, 5.5.
Yeah, but then if you're
6.
enjoying it,
6.
if you're
You
really,
can enjoy
really
6.
if you're really, really enjoying it, you're not gonna be like, "Are we sure Frank's, like, that correct about how big of a drop off this is? Or I'm emotionally invested, so therefore I need to see it through to the." I mean, you're a guy who famously can't quit anything.
Yeah.
So the
So
mo
I know
so
firsthand how shows can drop off so
but
quickly.
but that is it's kinda getting the rug pulled on you. It's like, "Hey, go watch this TV show. It's pretty good at the start, and it's really bad at the end," and
Yeah.
probably gonna end up feeling like me where you're like, "Ah, that kinda ruined it," to a large degree.
I mean, it's partly the problem with television, right? Is that you they're always gonna wanna keep dragging it on to make more money and to get more, episodes in that most shows end up dragging on a bit. Like, it's more rare that you get a complete, well-rounded show that's good from start to finish than a show that's great and then kind of fizzles out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, walking away is a hard thing to do, especially when there's huge amounts of money on the table.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel sorry for Killian
Sometimes the
Murphy.
screen just has to go blank.
Yeah. I feel sorry for Killian Murphy. Like, eh, you know, I'm sure he got a nice payday, contractually obligated to take part in that movie, but it's it's not good. It's not good at
But
all.
but Anaconda.
See? But this is the difference. Anaconda, stupid premise. And actually, every review I read of it was that this movie is even worse than you thought it was. Like, literally, literally, I hadn't read a single positive review. There's a few podcasts I listened to where they had kind of looked forward to seeing Anaconda because they're big Jack Black fans or they enjoy like Paul Rudd and comedies. So it's like, hey, that's kind of a can't miss combination. At least they're going to deliver some funny at different moments in time. And every single thing I read and single thing I listened to was like Anaconda is awful. Like, do
I
not
can't
watch
wait
it.
to watch it now.
It's not good, but it has some genuinely funny moments for sure. And like it like if I had a kid, then that's a movie I would want to watch with my kid. If you see what I mean. Like, yeah, as me as a 38-year-old man with like, but if you had a 10-year-old kid, Anaconda is the perfect movie for you to be sitting down and watching with your child. And for them to probably come away with that and then in the future tell someone Anaconda is one of my favorite childhood movies, and for someone to think that's insane. But, like, that's sort of what you should be aiming for. It was enjoyable. And honestly,
I'll
the
give it a
plot of
go.
The plot of Anaconda made more sense than the plot of Peaky Blinders. Genuinely.
Hey, no spoilers. No spoilers.
Absolutely no if Thomas Shelby had been killed by a giant snake 3/4 of the way through Peaky Blinders, I would have been like, "This makes more sense than what actually ends up happening." Like, but yeah, Anaconda, enjoyable. I would encourage, and especially talking about plane movie, 100% a great plane movie. You're gonna get your hour and a half of, like, if you fall asleep during it, you won't care. You can start it again on the next flight. You're gonna get a couple chuckles out of it. It's not too serious. It's a great plane movie.
Yeah, so speaking of plane movies, I watched the first 10 minutes of Begonia. the movie with Jesse Plemons and
Okay.
what's her name?
Oscar
Emma
nominated.
Stone. Yeah. And I fell asleep and I was like, I can't do this. I was a little tired
Whoa,
on the
you're
plane.
learning.
I was a little tired on the plane and I put it on and I was kind of fighting it. And I was like, I never get to sleep on planes. So let me just take this opportunity to get at least a little bit of sleep. So I just switched it to like live TV and fell asleep for like 20 minutes and then watched Curb for the next hour because I knew I wouldn't get a whole movie in. So I figured, let's not start a movie now with an hour left and just watched Curb. But I gave it a shot and then I was just too tired.
Well, next time, try Anaconda
It wasn't
or
there.
Greenland too, which again,
Okay.
it's not good, but it it does what you expect it to do.
But that means I'll have to be a sociopath because I've never seen Greenland 1.
Look, I'll put it this way. I think you can figure out what happened in Greenland 1 without seeing Greenland 1, but hey, back to back, next long flight, hope that they have both of them
Greenland 1, Greenland
available
2.
and go for both of them.
Okay.
Because again, they're the only thing that I would say might put me off. I'm a little bit superstitious, as listeners of the podcast will know, and there's a little bit of, like, plane in Greenland 1, there's, like, plane
Yeah.
crashes and stuff. I don't like doing that when I'm on a plane, I have to admit.
Bad
That
juju.
feels yeah, that feels like I'm tempting fate a little bit too much.
Well, speaking about tempting fate a little too much, the last episode of The Pit uh, tackled another heavy-handed subject in ICE detainment and ICE agents. This show it might be losing some of its steam for me. And it's not that I didn't appreciate what they did and what they showed, but at the end of the day, this is a emergency room drama show. I don't need it to be an episode by episode political activism show. Like but like it's too much now. Like we've talked about this all through season 2. Like again, like I'm fine if you want to pick some major points and let that run through the show and let it have effect. But when you're just taking an episode at a time to try and discuss another hot topic and put your spin on it in one episode, and then literally the next episode, which is actually only 15 minutes later, sequentially, like in the timeline of the show, have it completely forgotten about it. That to me is almost a disservice to what you're trying to do. And unless they pull this through, which I doubt they will because they haven't pulled through half of the things that they've like brought up, like it seems not
So
worth it.
so so where I guess I understand that they're trying to go like day in the life of an emergency room, which would mean that you as a doctor or a nurse or whatever, you wouldn't feel as if you would deal with oh, here's someone who's a victim of sexual assault. I'll deal with this very seriously, and then I will move on to my next patient. And the fact that I just did that with a sexual assault victim is not going to be sort of a recurring theme throughout my day. I now move on. And that's sort of the reality of what they're trying to portray, which is that, hey, these doctors and nurses and staff have to deal with a lot and then just keep chugging along. And it's tough. That's fine. As we spoke about last episode, I do feel like they're picking too many things to deal with. I get the choosing the ice because that's a huge theme in America, and in a sense, it would have felt
Yeah.
bizarre to make a TV show about being in an emergency room at the moment and not have had an ice element. So, like, it makes sense to have done that. But yeah, again, it just is unfortunate that it comes on the heels of feeling like maybe a few too many things are being covered at once. And again, if in their they would defend it by saying that's what the reality of an emergency room is that yeah, if you spoke to someone who worked in a Pittsburgh emergency room this summer, then all of these things would have happened within one shift.
I don't
And
know
so,
though. I think now we're getting a little crazy. You think in one shift you have, and now I'm missing half the plot lines, but you have what the person who wants to pretty much commit suicide by drugs because of
yep,
cancer. You have a person, or so you have terror attack, or not terror attack,
Cyber
online
security
attack,
attack.
cyber attack that has cut off all your internet and any technology. You have a water park catastrophe with a
But
slide breaking down.
I'm going to say this. I was more right than you on that one. That's not that big of a deal. That's
It's
just like
not, but
that's
it
three
is another
patients.
pretty, yeah, okay, but it's pretty big serious injury
Mm.
aspect.
They only made it. They
Um,
made too big of a deal of it by showing the TV clip. It should have just been 3 people coming in, like
what were some
accident on a
I can't
slide.
remember half the other things now.
You had the sexual assault thing. You have the
The
kid who's a
sexual assault thing,
schizophrenic, who was
which I'll
tased
say
by
right now,
the guard, and there was that kind of discussion about that.
the sexual assault thing they've even hinted isn't that common because the last time it happened was 2 weeks ago. So it's happening maybe like once or twice a month, not every day.
Oh, no, I don't think that was the implication, the fact that the kid hadn't been picked up. I don't think they
She said the last one I did, the kid had never been picked up. So that's the last time she's done it.
Yeah, the last time she's personally done it.
But she works
I don't
5 days
think
a week.
I don't think the implication is I think we need to be careful here. I don't think the implication is, and I don't think the pit would want to portray that sexual assaults are happening once every couple weeks in Pittsburgh or like someone is having to go through a rape kit once every 2 weeks.
But
I don't think
you're saying this is a daily occurrence.
No, I'm not saying everything is daily. I'm saying, do I think that this would happen all in one day? For sure. Like, I think there's, I, I would imagine, now this maybe I'm wrong. I would think that I think someone's coming in with a sexual assault, a victim of sexual assault on a daily occurrence in like a major U.S. urban hospital, metropolitan hospital. Or in Europe too. I'm not limiting it to the US. I think my presumption would be that like a rape kit is being used every single day. Certainly multiple times per week. But that one like and the ice thing, I don't know. I would have thought that, yeah, over the summer or in where you've just been in Minneapolis or are in Minneapolis, I'm sure during the height of all that ice stuff, I'm sure there were members of ICE in hospitals at different moments in time for different reasons, either their own injuries or because they are bringing in someone who they've detained. I'm sure that was happening a few times a week. I'm sure there are hospitals in Minneapolis where that was like, yeah, this is a real issue for us for the very reasons
Yeah.
that the pit is portraying, that then like certain staff members feel uncomfortable or people in an emergency room feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. It just seems like a lot in one day.
Yeah. But again, it's a lot of points to me. I don't feel as if the number of things happening feel unrealistic. And as you know, I'm a big fan of I don't want the big story. It's just like, again, this is a show that's definitely having a season 3. And so if I'd been in the writer's room and you'd gone, "Hey, what are the points?" Ice, you kinda have to do this year
Well,
because it's
they filmed that December, like end of December. So they
yeah.
filmed that in response to what had happened.
So you like Ice needed to be in season 2 because it would have felt kind of weird almost if you were trying to have something that was sort of reflecting what the world is like in a hospital in America in 2025/2026. You would have said that kind of needed to be covered. But there's one or two things that maybe could have been left out and pushed on to
There was the no insurance one.
yeah. Yes. That maybe could have been saved for season 3.
Yeah.
And gone like, this is the thing we'll speak about more in season 3. Same with now you're dealing with the mother who maybe tried to kill her kid,
Oh, yeah.
unclear, and then
No,
she
I don't
sort
think
of
I'm still slightly confused. I think she just was a slightly bad parent for
we
a
don't
little
know,
bit.
right? But maybe.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah, I don't know.
my big takeaway from this, and already said this to
Oh,
one
here we
person,
go.
and I don't
Here we
no.
go.
I gotta Dr. Al-Hashimi, who I'm
Oh,
fine with as a character. She's
okay.
the way she talks and the little jacket that she wears all the time, which seems a little bit unrealistic to me that she would still have this jacket on like 10 hours into her emergency room shift, but still. The little jacket on, and then how her hair looks. And all of this, not a criticism. She's a pretty woman, but also just the way she delivers her speech more, she comes across to me as if she's like a Star Trek character. Like she's kinda like walking through this hospital a little bit as if she's supposed to be going on to like the the deck of the Enterprise and kind of saying like, Do not worry about it. All signs point to good for your child. Those are all good indicators." Like, it's a little bit Spock-esque to me, but that's just
Now, I I think there are a few characters on this show that are starting to like. I'm starting to lose like the likeness of in a way. Like they're starting to their shine's starting to wear down a little bit. I'll put it
all
that
right,
way.
run through them for me.
I think I think Dr. Mel King has been given a pretty shit season with her deposition and then her sister being sexually active. There's a lot of her just like angry, confused, or like it stuck in thought and not really doctoring. I think it's been a pretty rough season for her.
Yeah, I'll say this, and I'll probably regret saying this immediately after.
Just
They've
don't
made
say it.
her
Just don't say it. Just
I'm gonna say
we
it.
know what you're gonna say. We know what you're gonna say. You don't have to say it.
They've made her, like, extra autistic this year.
Yeah, I don't even
They've
know if they
it
have.
feels like they
It's just
turned the dial up a little bit on it.
what they're giving her is this. It's kind of not good. I don't know. I feel like they're trying to give her a lot like a 3D character, but it's not good backstory. It's kind of stupid.
But I guess you could say that season 1, they had, like, I guess the model almost for them is that you got a few people who are focusing on doctoring and who their big challenges are sort of medical things they're dealing with, and then you have a couple, student doctors who are learning their way, and they take paths that may surprise you where someone starts off slow, but by the end of it actually turns out they're probably going to be the better doctor. And the reverse, the person who's calm and composed at the start actually struggles a bit more. Like, which again, I'm sure that's all just what you would expect. And then there's one or two doctors who were getting personal baggage. So year one, that was obviously Langdon with the drug issue, and then that was also, uh, McKay
Yeah.
with
So
she was dealing with,
yeah.
like, her son and her husband came in and stuff.
I mean, for me, like you bring up McKay, I think that's a character that now is underutilized. Like I really like Dr. McKay in season 1. I think she's really good, but I feel as if she's not really on screen very much anymore right now.
She had a pretty big part in the last episode.
Yeah, but her main case has just been that one, the cancer patient. And I guess now
Yeah,
she had that in the park treatment one. And that was good.
but
Like that was a cool scene. I like that scene. Like I
but
feel
it
like I don't know, I feel
but
like
it's
she's
an
not on.
ensemble, right? So
Yeah.
you're gonna get 5 minutes of screen time per episode, and one episode to the next, you might be a little bit more of a factor than the next, but you can't really do it any other way, right? I mean, it's all right, who else is on your list? Who else is trending negatively for
Well,
you?
I mean, we gotta at least discuss a little bit Dr. Robbie, who's kind of
He's a
become
dick.
a slight asshole.
Slight.
Like
He's just a massive asshole.
like and it's so inconsistent, and that's what's weird. And there is a lot of online chatter that maybe he's just anti-women, which when you look at who he's yelled at and who he's been mean to, besides Langdon, it's like always the female character he's much harsher towards. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I
but
mean, he's pretty harsh to
regardless of whether
Langdon, but yeah.
regardless of whether or not that's the case, like how he gets his weird biker friend Duke to come in because he's super concerned about him, and at the same time screams at his own doctor for like having a moment of thinking about outside work and calling her like weak and things like that. It's just like, is he a good guy or is he an asshole? Like I don't understand. Like I don't know. Is he just is he supposed to be complicated? Is that his whole thing?
The thing I don't get is that in season 1, he was such a good guy. Like, he
Yeah.
was the excellent doctor, but who's also super empathetic, very understanding, wanting to teach, wanting to bring the best out of people. And yes, he was dealing with a bit of that COVID PTSD where we'd had the flashbacks to him in the children's room and stuff, and he was burdened by the death of his mentor. But that even with all that, and even though he had a couple moments of having a sort of mini panic attack, he was always very understanding. And what's not properly explained to me, or to just in general, is why this time around he's so much more sort of jaded than he was season 1. It's like,
Yeah.
so is the big issue that
He's never recovered. Like
he's
he's even worse. Like he's
yeah.
deteriorating in a way,
But
like
but
mentally.
they didn't, like, set that table where, there could be a few conversations from other members of staff being like, "He's been like this for a while. It feels like he's
Yeah.
not like he used to be. He's just really struggling since this, since that, since" you know and there's lots of stuff that's gone on. His daughter's girlfriend his son's girlfriend that died
Yeah.
in the mass shooting, and where he had to tell that then the son got angry at him, or not the son, but the quasi son, whatever that situation was, and feeling betrayed by
Stepson.
Langdon, like all that
Yeah.
scenario. But again, they're not discussing it enough to kind of justify where it's like he feels like a completely different person season 2 than he was in season
Yeah.
1 for reasons kind of not remotely explained. And that it's a little bit off-putting as you watch it where I'm then kinda trying to think back to season 1 of like, was he always a dick? Did I
Yeah.
just like, did I miss that bit that he's just a massive dick? Because he's not he's definitely I agree, he's definitely worse to women, but he's not really nice to anyone.
Except except Whitaker.
Yeah.
He's overly nice. He's offering his apartment.
Yeah, but then
Listen,
even
Whitaker, I
Whitaker
got a great king bed. There's a whole box of
his
condoms right
bachelor
there. You can
pad.
take them if you want. Use them. I don't care.
But, like, yeah, then Whitaker hasn't made any mistakes or anything this episode or this season, so that's also made it a bit easier, but everyone who makes a mistake and again, like, he snaps at, uh, Dr. Mohan for her
Yeah.
little, like, panic attack that she has, but again, you're kind of watching this from, like, we've seen him have panic attacks that basically
Yeah.
everyone else is unaware of.
Where Whitaker had to pick him up off the ground
Yes.
in season
And
one.
maybe that's the only reason he's nice to Whitaker, like, than other people, is that Whitaker is the one who knows and
He
hasn't
can
exposed
expose
him.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but, like, we know that he should actually be able to kinda empathize, and the talking point that he gave of the, like, this is supposed to be like a force shield around this place where other stuff not going on, that's a fine little statement that, again, if people were saying, "Oh, it really feels as if he's struggling at the moment."
Yeah.
And we get indications of that when Abbott says, like, "Hey, if you're having a hard time, make sure to call
Yeah.
me." Like, clearly people know he's struggling, but we're not getting enough of a reveal as to, but why now versus what when we watched season 1? Like, what's
Yeah.
changed? It's a little bit strange.
And also, like, I don't mind that you said that speech he had about, like, you have to put everything aside. That's what makes a really good
Mhm.
doctor. And maybe that's actually not true. Maybe sometimes having some internal emotion makes you a better doctor. That's up for debate. But I agree
Yeah,
with that messaging of, like, you come in here, you have to let everything else go because you need to be focused. I completely get that and I completely understand that. But that's the statement you have in the beginning, not walking in and be like, "You're having a fucking panic attack about your mother? Stop being a
yeah,
fucking pussy, you wimp," and, like,
yeah.
walk out the room. It's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, weren't you on the ground crying and a fucking resident had to pick you up? Like, relax,
Because your
buddy."
mentor
Yeah.
'Cause your mentor died of COVID? Like, that
Yeah,
was and you
like,
can't go into the
geez.
room with the paintings on the wall anymore? Like,
Like, that was
that's
an aggressive, like, diss he had on her. That was crazy. Um,
yeah. And again, you
Santos
could
okay, go ahead.
it's kinda good TV, right? Because we came into it really liking Dr. Robbie and then sort of being a little skeptical to Dr. Al-Hashimi at sort of the beginning of the season, and then as things move, Dr. Al-Hashimi then seems the much nicer doctor in the current climate, but then she's obviously also dealing with the PTSD of whatever it is, like, that she had a baby that died or something, whatever scenario was getting hinted at where she needed to call her therapist and she, struggled when it was the dealing with the
Yeah.
uh, baby Jane Doe, and then now with the mother who kind of tried to kill herself after she may have inadvertently killed her child. There's, that I don't know. It all seems. I don't mind the plot line. I just wish it was explained a little. This is the weakness of the singular day episode,
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And
but it
and
could
only
be.
and only in the ER kinda thing.
Yes, but it could literally just be. It could have been one conversation between like Abbott
And
and
Dana, the nurse.
yes.
Nurse
Yeah,
Dana.
where they go, "I'm really worried about him. He's really been tailing off over the last 3 months. Like, he used to be super nice, and now he's a dick all the time." That's
Yeah.
all we would have needed to be like, "Oh, okay. This
So
is."
yeah. Yeah. It's true. I guess and then the last one I'll bring up is Santos. I don't I don't know whether we're supposed to just realize she's just an asshole and just not a likable person, or if, like, she is and they're just really hiding it. 'Cause season 1, she had a pretty rough go of season 1, but then she does, I think a pretty brave thing in kind of leaking out that Langdon is taking the drugs, and that's fine, and you gain respect for her. And then in season 2, she starts off kind of good, and you're gaining respect for her, and you see that she's struggling, and you feel bad that she's struggling because it's a lot of work, and she's, tied up with the things, and okay, she's kind of, has her one-liners and stuff like that, but she seems like she's fitting in much better. But these last few episodes, she again, like, they kinda heel turn her into being a dick. And it's like, okay, but is she a dick? Is she not? Like, what's going on here? I don't get it. And I don't know if she's just supposed to be complicated or if they just don't really know yet if they wanna make her a likable or unlikable character. Like, they're still just trying to play the fence right now.
Yeah, and again, I still really like the show, and this is obviously, again, I say it every week, the fact that you kind of when you then break down it, you have to be overly critical of something even when you really like it because it's just if I were to criticize the writing, it feels like nuance is something that they struggle with in character development. And so basically you either have to be a complete asshole or a
Yeah.
really great person. And like there is very little in between. So it's like Langdon, druggie who's an asshole. Ooh, now he's all is forgiven. He comes back.
But
Now
good
he's a great
doctor.
good doctor. You can be a good doctor. You can be an asshole and a good doctor, and you can be a good person and a good doctor. You can be an asshole and a bad doctor, and you can be a good person and a bad doctor. But you can't be like somewhere in between in
Yeah.
most of those things. And like in a way, I guess the only character who they've managed to do that a little bit with is probably McKay, where they dealt with the complications of obviously she was with her ex-husband and stuff, and she struggled a bit in that interaction with the the ex-husband's new girlfriend and stuff, but overall, she was sort of a good person, even though she was maybe handling that scenario pretty badly. But, like, Robbie, season 1, great guy. Season 2, dickhead. Langdon, season 1, kind of a dickhead. Season 2, great guy. Um, uh who else? As you sort of mentioned there, uh, Mel King, season 1, really great. Season 2, now she's like a little bit of an ass. Like how she treats her sister, it's a complicated thing to be processing, but we don't get much like
Overall, I
nuance and
still think
balance.
she's kind of been the same. It's just now I think I just think the storyline for her just doesn't give her a lot.
But
They
I mean,
try to, but it hasn't connected with me.
but that's the I think it doesn't connect with you. I think there's gonna be a lot of people for whom that connects. That I think
Maybe.
that's an interesting topic, like if obviously you had a sibling or a family or some kind of family member who you felt responsible for, or if you're just a parent and you're kind of having to process that my child is starting to have sex or my child is starting to become a version of themselves that is less dependent on me and where like there is comfort to me in being a kind of all-powerful parental figure that you must come to me for everything that you need and she's having to process with her sister this realization that not only are they is she not as dependent on me as I previously thought, but that actually maybe that I was more dependent on her, that sort of what felt like a one-way transaction was actually much more sort of two-way, and that I'm gonna be the one who's now left lonely. I'm sure maybe there's parents who watch that who go like, "This feels exactly what it's like to have a teenage kid," or as
I
a
feel
kid
like
goes
we've
off to
seen that a
college.
lot though on TV and
You see
movies.
everything a lot. I'm not expecting groundbreaking, like, everything to be never seen it done before,
You know what
you
I
know,
haven't seen
like
before? Someone's leg get chopped off and them to try and reattach it. Give me more of that.
but this is the I mean, dude, go watch a medical documentary if this is all you want. 'Cause, like, even that's a little bit again, I think probably the fact that she, like, wakes up and then she looks over and sees her leg being, like, washed, and she's there, like, it probably doesn't happen super frequently, but, you know, yeah, like, it's
Alright, I have one
over
more question, one more character question for you. Does Ogilvy, the quote unquote villain of the show currently, have a heel turn and turn out to be a good guy?
I mean, I think he is a good guy, but I think, yes, I think he's in all likelihood going to end up doing something good in the final couple of episodes.
Or does he quit? Because he's already had
No, I
the
don't
line that, like, this is not
maybe
what
too much
he
for
did
him.
in the last ER.
Yeah, no, I don't think he quits because I think they kinda do that with all the doctors, right? Like, all of the student doctors, the setup, which I get is what happens is that you think it's gonna be one thing and that you think you're gonna be fine, and then all of a sudden you're holding a severed leg, and, like, there's nothing that can prepare you for that reality. Like, no matter if you're someone who's like, "I'm comfortable with blood, and I'm comfortable with gore, and I'm just here to help people," but the moment when, someone's chopped off leg is in your arms, and you're just being told to hold on to it for a while, I think that's a tough thing. It's not easy to just go and get a beer later on and be like, "How was your day?" They're like, "Oh, you worked on some spreadsheets? I held someone's severed leg for 15 minutes whilst she was being treated before they could start to try and reattach it." But no, I think because the reverse of that is, you had, uh, what's her name? The other student doctor.
Dr.
Um,
J?
is that the one who memorized the board?
Oh, no, I can't remember her name.
What her
Uh,
but, like, she kind of the start of the show was her struggling and her kinda commenting, like, this isn't what she wanted to do, and then now she's starting to thrive in the sort of latter stages of the day with not only the memorization of the board, but then also just, um, the fact
calming down,
that
Dr. Mohan
yeah,
with the
like,
wheelchair and stuff.
and overall feeling, like, more comfortable in some of the more stressful environments. But still, it's really good. Again, we've kind of
Yeah,
spent
no, it's still really good. Again, it's still the first show I go to watch as soon as it drops.
and I don't mind, again, I don't mind the social issues. I just coulda cut it down by 2 or 3 and
Yeah.
dedicated a bit more time to them, and ice makes perfect sense to me, and a couple others do too, but maybe just a little bit more. Because in the end, like, season 1 had that to a degree because you had the mass shooting event, and that dominated then, like, 3 or 4 episodes where that was sort of all that was going on, was really the
Yeah.
mass shooting. And they've chosen to have no real major event as of yet, but instead, just like every episode, we're getting hit by something else, which may be in some ways more realistic, but from a viewer's perspective, it then does just feel like, "Oh, here's a new episode." Like, it almost feels like like a standalone episodes to a degree. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost like turning in to an episode of like a procedural where actually you didn't need to see episode 6. Episode 7 is, like, mostly completely isolated treatment of a different patient.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Whenever I watch medical dramas and stuff, though, it just makes me amazed that we don't just die more.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you know what I mean? I don't mean when you're with a doctor, but just I mean, and it's this thought that you could just keep you up at night if you think about it too much. But just the fact that things in our body don't just like stop working more frequently than they do. And I mean, I know that for lots of people, this is quite a to say it's a privileged thing to say, but there are obviously people dealing with chronic conditions and also, but just like in general, the fact that you, it's not just like, oh, did you hear about Frank? Heart just stopped. Just
Yeah,
done. Like, no,
thanks.
he's dead. No, you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
that it's
and
not
again, there was
just
another
over the,
blood clot on this episode. What, like,
yes.
can they stop already? Can they just, if I can give the
I,
pit one critique, can you fucking cut it out with blood clots? We get it. I don't need to be
I can't wait.
reminded on a weekly basis.
I can't wait till you realize that I have a small writing credit in the show. It's just every blood clot thing. It's just
It's
me.
literally 4 episodes this season they've mentioned blood clots.
You got to be really worried about those blood clots, Frank. But yeah, like it does just, when you watch a show like this, you're just like, man, just surprises me that an artery doesn't just come loose at some point and just, oh, no, lost an, oh, damn, what happened last week? Another one of my friends died. Oh, what happened? Get hit by a car or something? Just, they stopped working. Just,
All right. Well, with that, we'll call it a day. As our bodies just explode.
I'll leave people with that comforting thought.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good.
See ya.
Cheerio.